Hades is an isometric roguelite game. What that basically means, you start playing, you die, you come back a bit stronger, you die again, you come back a bit stronger, and you keep that loop going until you finally win. And right at the beginning of the game, you start with the descent. All right, hold on, pause. Okay, he might have a point. That is the beginning of the game. However, it's not exactly the beginning of the story. Let's go back to step 1. This is the heroine's journey in the game Hades. Separation from the mother. This can happen in multiple different ways, but the underlying reason is the same thing. The old self can no longer fit, and thus it needs to detract. Take examples of bad mothers who have been absent or dead or just not been around. One could not associate with them, thus they separate from their mother. One could also demonize their mother because of the fact that they want to be seen as emotional, they want to be seen as more masculine, and thus they don't want to be as their mothers want them to be. And so for their own survival, they forcefully disassociate from them. In Hades, this is when we learn of Persephone and who she really is.
Hades, I can no longer tolerate my life here in this place. So I'm leaving, even if it kills me. I won't be returning to Olympus. If there is a place where I belong in this world, it must be somewhere between heaven and hell. Perhaps it's on the coast and has a little garden. Take care of Cerberus. I shall miss him.
Thus did Prince of the Underworld Zagreus absorb the contents of this hidden letter, written in his mother's hand.
This leads into step 2, over-identification with the father. This could be in a world where the father is nice and the protagonist is overly attached with them. They become super fond of them. Everything they do is what they worship. Everything they want to become is them. Or the protagonist can struggle with their demands of their father. They can't meet up to whatever their father wants of them, even though they try their hardest. This could be personified in many different ways, like gaining a male ally, or getting ready to fight in a male-centric world, or waiting for a man to save you. In the game, Zagreus and Hades struggle with their relationship.
That's not correct. Wrong again. Do you not remember anything I taught? Enough, boy. Wrap it up.
Can I go yet, Father?
Not only were you late again, but then you also failed to perform even the simplest tasks that I had asked repeatedly that you complete. How many chances do you need at this? I am too lenient with you.
In step 3, the road of trials, the protagonist tries to find their own voice in the man's world. They might slay the dragon of dependence where they have on their parents, telling them, you suck, you can't do anything. Getting a new relationship, falling in love, a new school, a new job. In Hades, it's a blink and you miss it moment between Achilles and Zagreus. You're blinking.
Good to see you, lad, despite the circumstances. Remember your training out there. The pain of death is but another obstacle.
And fear is for the weak. Take care, Achilles.
Step 4, the illusory boon of success. Here, the protagonist feels as if they've peaked in their world. They've gotten everything they wanted for. It could be a degree, their dream house, they slew the inner tyrant of oppression, they gotten what they wanted, like climbing the corporate ladder, but something's still amiss inside. Something's still not right. In Hades, this is when we see Zagreus working at the accounting center for the underworld. This is where all the debts are notified and all the nitty-gritty of what it means to be in the underworld is kept. And Zagreus is at the top because he is the prince of the underworld, Hades' son. He can't do no wrong. Even if his father berates him, he's still the prince, right?
The prince attempts to sort the ledgers in the fashion necessary for the proper keeping of his father's realm.
Damn it.
That is not correct.
The hard-laboring shades responsible for the administration of the prince's father's realm merely look on at the prince's ill-fated attempts.
Oh, come on.
Incorrect.
In the fifth step of the heroine's journey, our protagonist might feel spiritual aridity, as if there's something more. They want to quit their job. They want to be more than what they are right now, and they're stopped to do so. They might be overworked and stretched thin. They might be going through essences of insomnia. They might have a sense of betrayal from their family, their loved ones, their co-workers, because they are not allowed to become who they are. And here is where our protagonist learns to say no. In Hades, Zagreus was sacked from his position at the accountancy firm, thus shattering the illusion that what means to be a prince. Soon afterwards, he learns the truth of Persephone, his true mother, and how the entire house had betrayed him. And thus begins his journey to leave the underworld.
Excuse me? If I'm not mistaken, you're deflecting your incompetence toward me? As though the goddess of wisdom herself has come to aid you in your time of need. I could replace you here and now with any number of simple shades hungry to work here.
Then why don't you? I don't want any of this. I'm not the one who drew the short lot with your brothers and got stuck here forever. Why am I having to do this senseless parchment pushing for you?
Why are you stuck? You're not. You're fired. I was wrong to think you were prepared to take on any responsibility at all. And don't you ever invoke your uncles here again, or I'll have you cast into the lowest pits of Tartarus. Now get out of my administration and my sight.
Thus did Prince of the Underworld Zagreus absorb the contents of this hidden letter, written in his mother's hand.
His mother's hand? My mother's hand? Wait, what? You're saying this Persephone, that she's my mother? But Father always said that Nyx was that liar. He lied to me. They both did. All my life.
Thus did the prince discover, inadvertently, the well-kept truth about his lineage. Entirely by chance, this did occur.
You're Nyx. You're not my mother. All this time, you and my father, you lied to me?
Oh, my dear child. So now you know. So now you know. But only half the truth. I can explain the rest, so please. It never was my wish to hurt you.
Now that you're all caught up, welcome to the beginning of Hades, also known as Step 6, Descending. Fresh off the heels of the betrayal, the protagonist might go through a bunch of changes. They might feel disoriented, they might feel depressed, sad, forgetful, disinterested in their friends maybe. Sometimes this is depicted by a geographical change, where something might be, in a sense, falling. In Hades, right as you start, Zagreus jumps out of a window and says goodbye to the house of Hades. He makes his way through the different fields that are in the underworld, Tartarus, Asphodel, Elysium, all of these being geographical changes, thus depicting his descent. In this step, the heroine might feel like they've hit rock bottom. They might have feelings of depression, rage, a breakdown, impending doom, loss, some sort of rawness or nakedness, which ultimately leads to introspection, to look into oneself. And one could also meet with the mayor. And that's the case in Hades. The depression or rage might not come from Zagreus himself, but it comes from you, the player. How many times has it been since you fought the Bone Hydra and lost? How many times has it been since you kept fighting Theseus and kept losing? It's a cycle that repeats itself over and over and over again. And then you meet Thanatos, the god of death. Essentially, your mirror.
Approaches. Father,
thought you could just get away from me, did you?
Thanatos. I figured it was only a matter of time before Father sent you after me to do his dirty work.
Zagreus, is that really why you think I'm here? Let's see how many of these exalted champions you can send back to their dooms, unless you'd rather I would send you back to yours. You left, without so much as telling me goodbye. I suppose you knew I'd catch up with you sooner or later. Is that it? No escaping death and all?
I left when it was necessary, Than. I thought of you and hoped you'd understand. I have to do this.
That's more motivation than I've ever heard from you. Well, if you won't say it, I'll say it. Goodbye, Zagreus.
Through all that, the way to the surface.
In this step, there's a certain urge to reconnect with the mother. Through a means or another, you find yourself to want to reconnect with a feminine body, or any body for that matter. One might rage over lost time. One might feel helplessness again. One might have confusion over the betrayal. One might connect with Mother Nature for all intents and purposes. In Hades, it's quite unique.
His mother's hand. My mother's hand? Wait, what? You're saying this Persephone, that she's my mother? But Father always said that Nyx was that liar. He lied to me. They both did. All my life.
In the plot, it's revealed to you after you meet with Thanatos. However, in the storyline, it is well before you leave the house. So the only understanding from here comes from the interactability of the player, that is you. You bring that to the table. You want to change the meaning of what it is to leave the house of Hades. You change the meaning of Zagreus trying to escape. He no longer wants to just get away from his father. He wants to find Persephone, his true mother. Step 9, healing the mother-daughter split. In this, the protagonist seeks to reconnect or reunite with the maternal figure. It might be the mother tongue, the motherland, a grandmother, you know. If there is no maternal figure, they might find something in the divine ordinariness of everyday tasks. It might just be some mundane thing like knitting or washing the dishes or going to a garden or garden. Garden?
Who's there?
Hello?
Hello indeed. Pray, who might you be wandering all the way out here? You're trespassing on private property, you know. Speak up.
You must be Persephone. My name is Zagreus, and I think I might be your son.
What? How dare! Get out of here! Get out or I shall make you! Out with you!
No, so then you are her. I don't care if you hate me, but I'm not leaving until I get some answers. I never even knew you existed. Why did you leave me?
You died. You died. Those burning feet, they sputtered out when you were born. But now you're standing here before me. How?
I died? I died? What, you mean permanently died? But I'm alive. Oh, gods. You never even knew I existed either.
Alive. Zagreus, he even kept your name. You live. How can this be? You live. You live. Oh, the cruel fates. My son.
Mother. You can't do this to me, Mother. You said Father is no fool, and neither are you. There has to be a way to fix this. Not just with you and Father, but with everyone. There has to be a way.
You have your father's stubbornness. Listen to me. You're endangering everything you care about by coming here. Don't you understand? Besides...
What? Besides what? Tell me, please.
The truth is that I like it here, Zagreus. I've done well for myself on my own. And your father, he has his domain to look after. The feelings he once had for me, feelings we shared, they fade with time. You'll understand someday.
No, I won't be understanding anything of the sort. Father still loves you, I'm sure of it. And he owes you an apology, damn it. I cannot make amends with you on his behalf. Something only you can do together.
What do you mean he still loves me, Zagreus? How would you know?
Because... I'm his blasted son, that's how I know. But trust me isn't ever good enough, I know that too. I'll prove it to you, Mother. Just you wait and see.
Oh, you're fading, son. You don't need to prove anything to me. Please don't do anything rash. All of us made our choices. Now we have to live with them. Isn't it enough to know that I'm safe? That I'm content to be alone?
No. It's not enough for me because this blasted family, it cannot just keep hiding from its problems, running from them. We're stuck with one another. We have to do everything we can for one another.
Oh, my dear boy.
We have to. No, not yet.
Step 10. Finding a man with a heart. In this stage, our protagonist seeks out to heal the inner masculine, whether this masculinity is projected onto others or the inner tyrant that one must fight. Our protagonist also might fall in love with a man with a heart. In Hades, this is personified by, I guess, all three. When Persephone tells Zagreus that she can't come home because she doesn't feel like she has a place to come home to, Zagreus sneaks into his father's bedchamber, something that has been quarantined off since the beginning of the game, or maybe all of Zagreus' life.
In his Lord Father's very private chambers, Zagreus, the lock-removing prince, discovers a most delicately painted likeness of none other than Persephone herself. A coat of dust suggests it has remained here for some time.
He's never stopped thinking of her. Ugh, what a fool.
Step 11. Union. In this step, the protagonist heals the mother and father split. Both sides of the brain come together in a union, so to speak. Or, as you spell it, S-Z-Y-G-Y. A syzygy. Yes. This can be represented by a family reunion, a union like a marriage, apotheosis, where someone reaches saintlyhood on this earth, as well as a deeper connection with someone of the opposite sex. In Hades, well, Persephone finally comes home.
Cerberus?
Persephone,
Cerberus, I missed you so. And dutiful as ever, aren't you?
I'm sorry. Know that I am sorry.
Hades, you look tired. Though I am not the only one you ought to be apologizing to.
Step 12. Bliss. Our protagonist now becomes the master of the two worlds, the conscious and the unconscious, and reunites the self and the ego. This is depicted by a momentary show of bliss where someone might close their eyes and happy. Or they finish a project they started at the beginning of the film, like almost every Hallmark Christmas film. Or they start a new venture, like a birth of a baby, a new business, or a new project. And that's what happens in Hades.
So, what now? I've grown so used to ransacking your domain, I think I'm really going to miss it.
About that. Your ransacking revealed many flaws in our security. The types that never get into reports. Our reputation rides on there being no escape from here. Would you keep trying to break free? Not for my sake, but for this realm, for the Queen.
Zagreus, if you keep fighting out of here, it shall help keep appearances that everything is as it always was. Perhaps you'll also tend to my little cottage while you're in the area. The garden doesn't take much care at all. I'd like to keep the place in decent shape, in case I cannot suffer this for long.
Well, I guess I'll see what I can do.
Just do the best you can. And clearly I've work to do as well. We have a lot of it ahead of us, I'd say. So, shall we get started then?
Thus was Hades, feared ruler of the dead, reunited with his long-lost bride, Persephone, the Queen. And together with their firstborn son, Prince Zagreus, they would go on to reign eternally beneath the earth, in relative harmony. The Queen's return marked an occasion of enthusiastic joy, so much as possible in that dark, gloom-filled realm of the dead. And even after all this time, Olympus never did discover what transpired there, in the underworld.